This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
I have created the most advanced AI soldier.
The wait is over. Tron Ares now streaming on Disney+.
We are looking for something you've discovered. And some of us will stop at nothing to get it.
Ready?
The countdown is complete.
There's no going back.
Our directive is clear.
Hang on!
Tron Ares now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
And I was like, whoa, who are you? Like, and what are you doing on my porch, banging down my door?
These are the plaintiffs, Patrick O'Gara and Michelle Heddles. They say they rented a house from the defendants, and from the get-go there were problems. The defendants treated the place like it was still their house and came and went as they pleased. They eventually moved out, and to this day the defendants haven't given them a reason. They're keeping their security. In fact, trying to communicate with them is like trying to teach calculus to a brick wall. They're suing for $1,300 for the return of their security. These are the defendants, Patrick and Frances Beatty. They say the plaintiffs were their tenants for a very long month and a half. The rude plaintiffs ended up leaving in the middle of the night. They even painted the place for them with the understanding they'd stay a year and are keeping the security to cover the cost of that paint job. They're accused of not staying away.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Patrick O'Gara and Michelle Heddles.
Heddles, yes.
Heddles. You are suing Patrick and Frances Beatty for $1,300, the amount of your security deposit that you feel your former landlords have inappropriately withheld. Tell me what's going on.
Well, we moved in June 7th. Before that, we signed the lease on May 30th, and we gave them $1,300 first month rent, $1,300 last month rent, and $1,300 security deposit. So we moved in June 7th. We knew that they were going to be doing work on the premises, renovations and stuff like that. But after a couple of weeks, we started to kind of notice that things weren't as we left them in the house, that the doors weren't locked the same way that we left them locked. So we were kind of suspicious that they were going in the house. And then I think you were out, right? She was out with her mother doing some shopping, and I guess she could tell you what happened. I don't really...
Sure. I came, it was about a couple weeks into our lease, and I went out with my mom to do some shopping for the place. And I got a phone call, and she said that she needed to put the power on. And so she needed us to come back, and I said that I would be back soon. And then when I came home, she'd already let herself in, and she plugged her radio in. She put a cord through the window outside.
She made you come back from your shopping excursion so she could listen to a radio?
Yes.
Who's Fran?
It's my wife.
I am. What do you say happened?
We were building a shed in the yard, and we needed the power for the power tools to build the shed.
So you need the power from their electric bill?
Excuse me.
From your electric bill?
Yes, from our electric bill.
Okay.
They were well aware we needed to use the power.
Okay, how many days were you building the shed?
It took like 2 weeks. It took a
Okay.
long time.
So that's your first problem. What happens next? You wanted a dog.
Yeah, we wanted...
Do you have an actual written lease?
We do.
Okay, and then on your, let me see the lease. And then does it say no pets?
It says pets with owner's consent.
Right, no pets without the owner's written
right.
consent.
Yeah.
Right, that's what they mostly say. And
Right.
then what?
So we went and we were at the shelter. We, admittedly jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah, I'll say. Why are you
Yeah.
at a shelter if it says no pets without the written
Right.
consent?
So we went there and we were looking at pets and we called them. They said no, which obviously we're not going to bring the dog home if they say no. Then I proceeded to ask him, about how long the process was going to take. This was July.
What process?
The process of building the shed in the yard. This was July 8th that this happened. And I remember speaking on the phone with him. He said he couldn't give me a date. But after I asked that, he got very frustrated with me. He said that if I had a problem with what was going on, that they were going to take their time doing it. If I had a problem with what was going on, I should leave. And so we talked it over that night, and I called him back, and I did, in fact, tell him that we were going to leave.
Okay.
So
far, is that accurate?
No.
Okay. What do you say was different than what he said?
He started the conversation like, hey, we got it. We have the dog. I'm like, okay, what do you mean you have a dog? Yeah, Michelle's with him now. We're getting ready to bring him home. And this is the first I'm hearing of it. During that conversation is when I said to him, if this is such an important issue to you, if having a dog is so important, and I understand I have a dog. I'm a dog owner. I said, then maybe you should enact an escape clause in the lease and find another place to live. And it wasn't hostile. It was pretty friendly, actually.
Okay.
They had asked for an escape clause in the lease that if they were not happy on the premises, if they were able to get out of the lease. And we honored that with them.
So that's all they have to be is unhappy and they can get out?
Well, he basically said, I said, why is that? He said, because I had an issue with my previous landlord. I said, fine, Patrick, if that's just making you uncomfortable, I'll let you,
So you're keeping their deposit, why?
Well, initially it was because we had gone over one day when they were painting. They arrived a couple days earlier, and they weren't supposed to be there. And they just showed up and started painting. The apartment was freshly painted. I mean, it was all with a nice beige tone. It was quite nice. And they weren't happy with the colors. Okay, fine. They wanted to paint the apartment, and they showed up a couple days before they were supposed to show up, and they were already painting. And when they were done painting, it was a complete and total disaster. It was a mess. They weren't able to cover the walls. Just inexperience. I understood. So I offered to paint the apartment for them, and he agreed. And I said at that point, I said to him, but if you enact an escape clause in the lease, this becomes a retail paint job. And we laughed and shook hands, and that was it.
We laughed and you shook hands.
Pretty much. It was pretty friendly.
Did that happen?
I don't recall that at all. I don't recall that specific part. I recall everything.
So what are you
he said
saying? You're keeping?
up
Okay, because he gave you notice. Notice is not the issue. The escape clause was abided by in terms of notice. The reason you're keeping it is this paint issue.
Yeah, notice wasn't an issue, but they did abandon the apartment. They left it vacant for 2 weeks without notifying anybody.
Well, but vacant for 2 weeks, but he gave you notice on July that he was leaving in September, and then he just left early? Is that what you mean?
No, he didn't give notice in July he was leaving early. They only rented it. They were only there for 2.5 months.
Okay, when did they leave?
They left, as far as we can discern, we think it was around the 23rd of August. From all the evidence we have.
A little bit before him, but did they pay August rent?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Did they pay September rent?
Yes.
They paid the whole month of September?
Well, the lease goes from the 7th to
Oh,
the
it
7th
does go
every
to the
month.
7th.
so
I got it.
they need to get in
So
early.
they're paid up in rent. Your conversation with them was supposedly in July 8th. Hey, look, even you yourself say the reason I'm keeping it is the paint. You don't say anything about notice. It sounds like the notice was complied with. So let's discuss the paint issue. He says that he told you if you're going to stay there a year, that's fine. And if not, I'm charging you $250 a room, and this is a retail paint job that I did for you because you left me. And you say that conversation never took place.
That's the first time hearing
Okay,
of
now
it.
let me try to even understand why such a conversation would take place. You're painting the place, it's your place, you get the benefit of the paint job. You also know that you, in essence, would be changing the contract that they did sign, which had an escape clause, because now you'd be charging them $1,300 for an escape clause that charges them nothing. So I don't get it. Why would you even propose that, and why would they ever accept it?
That was the agreement that we had,
any
Judge.
proof of
This
that?
did happen. It was a conversation. We should have put it. Actually, the agreement was already drawn up. We
So,
should have put it
that's
back
what
in.
we
We
call
did.
an
We didn't put a
addendum,
rider in.
right?
It's not in writing,
Yeah.
but
Rider?
it
Actually,
was
it's a
certainly
good
a
word, too.
man-to-man
Right.
handshake agreement, Judge. It did happen.
Yeah, watch this. Did it happen?
Of course.
Okay, right. So that's where we
I
are
know, I
right now.
understand.
The plaintiffs moved into the defendant's house. Seemed fine at first, but the plaintiffs say the defendants treated it like it was still their castle. Let's listen.
Now, tell me about, apparently there's an unpleasant little day when you get a visit from them. Who was home then? Both of you were?
Me and my daughter.
Okay, what happened?
I was laid up with my leg, and this with my daughter.
You want to come up and tell me? Who wants to tell me? Does somebody tell me?
Sure, I'll tell it.
Okay.
Sorry.
What'd you do?
I had knee surgery.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, drilled 3 holes in her kneecaps. But back to the case.
Yeah.
So me and my mom are home, and we're just, hanging out watching TV. And next thing I know, I hear bop, 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 like on my door, like she was trying to bang down my door, And I've never met these people before in my life. I answered the door because my mom, she's got knee problems, and someone's, I got right into, okay, I gotta go take care of this real quick. So I opened the door, and she starts screaming. I couldn't even tell you what she was yelling about, saying, I'm getting my money, something like that. I don't even really know. And I was like, whoa, who are you? Like, and what are you doing on my porch, banging down my door?
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay.
And, so she's like, oh, we're your ex-tenants. And I was like, oh, I heard about you guys. You guys are the ones who dipped without saying anything, Okay. I know who you are now. But so she came barreling, like she wouldn't let me close my door. She barreled her way into my house.
What does that mean?
Like
she tried to block you closing the door?
Yeah, she put her leg in the door, put her arm, I'm not going anywhere.
Which one's doing that? The female plaintiff?
No, the mother.
Oh, the mother.
So I'm like, all right, now this is it was escalating. She was trying to get me to hit her, is what I think it came down to, because she kept pushing me and pushing me. She would not leave. She would not get off my porch, and she'd put her leg in my door, would not let me close my front door, and I'm like, I'm calling the cops, Wait,
what'd you do? Walk away from the door?
No, I slammed it until she moved.
Okay, so you got the door shut.
Yeah, I got the door shut. I mean, I wasn't gonna let this crazy woman into my house who I've never met before, you know? I had to defend my mother.
Okay, so you called the police.
Well, no, I didn't. I was just saying that so she'd leave. And she's like, I'm gonna call the cops.
So you called the police?
The cops.
Come on up, Mom.
Yeah.
I called the police.
Yes, I did.
Did you stick your foot in the door so that...
No, I did not. What happened was my husband and I had just come, they picked us up from the cruise. We had just come back from a cruise. And they were telling us on the ride back that they had been trying to get in touch with Fran and Patrick. They wanted him to go through a walkthrough with them in the apartment, and they would never return their calls. They had been trying to get in touch with them for, I guess, a week or so. I said, you know what?
By this point, they had moved out how long?
This was September 8th, and we moved out August 25th.
Okay, so
Right.
go ahead.
So I said, well, let's go over there now. Let's go see, let's knock on their door and see what's going on.
Okay.
It was pouring. That's the day that we even saw what is it
tornado,
called?
water spout.
A water spout go across. It was downpouring. So we go to the house, and I rang the bell, or I rang the bell.
We don't have a bell.
She said, hold on a second.
Okay, or either that or I knocked on the
She says
screen
you
door. I
banged
don't
on the
remember.
door.
Huh?
She says you banged on this door.
I absolutely did, because what happened was...
Yeah, I know you did, because you just came home from a cruise. Right. You hear your babies tell you the problem, and you're like, whose mother are you? Hers? And then you're not going to put up with it. We're stopping now. We're not even time to jettison the luggage. We are going to... I don't think you went, hello, hello.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So can a tenant, when you move into an apartment, are you allowed to move in and then just paint the apartment if you want?
No.
Why not?
Because it's not my apartment.
Well, it's true, but you're leasing it.
Yes, but it's not your property. You have a lease agreement not to paint it.
So what do you do?
I paint my apartment.
Did you ask the landlord?
No, but I've always painted my apartment.
Here's the deal. You're screwed.
I'm screwed?
Yeah. Going inside the courtroom.
I was first the storm door, and then I saw Fran walk around a corner. This woman was out gardening, supposedly. There was nothing wrong with her knee at that time that I knew of. I saw her walk, and nobody was answering the door. And we're out standing in torrential rain for at least 2 minutes, and I said, and I did. I opened the storm door, and I knocked real hard on that wood door. Then the daughter came down, and the daughter opened the door and said, who the F are you, and why are you trying to break down my door? And she said, you're not, and I mean, just the words coming out of this girl's mouth. I was a fat, and my daughter was a fat, and lots of stuff like that. And then she said, get off my porch or I'm calling the cops. And I said, please do.
So the cops come?
I called them. Then I said, I'm not leaving. I got out.
How did anyone think this was going to be fruitful?
And I thought I could
like,
go
do
and
you
talk to
tell your
them.
mother-in-law, just relax, you just came back from a cruise?
I went and sat in the car. It was
So,
raining.
is that going to be your theory of marriage, just to like let it all happen?
Well, once I went up to the front door with everybody. Once we knocked and it started off bad, I was like, "Look, I'm not doing this."
Okay, you need to put
And
on
my
your big
husband
Listen to
did.
me. Listen to me. You're the renter in this case.
Yes.
You need to put on your big boy pants.
Yes.
And you need to. Part of a marriage is stopping people from themselves. Okay, because you're supposed to be the better part of your better half. So when you see this descending to a place where someone's going to hit somebody, okay, and you don't say, well, "I'm out. Peace out, man. See you guys later," and sit in the car and play with your iPhone. You go over there, you grab your lovely bride and your mother-in-law, and you say, "We're handling this through the courts." And then you wanted a rebuttal to the. Listen, I could script exactly what both of you did. Okay, but go ahead.
First of all, my mom just said, "Get in the house, Carissa.
close the door.
Get in the house. Just leave. Like, just come inside.
Did you call her a fat?
Oh, you should. The thing she was calling me.
Did she call you?
I really would not like to repeat
So
it
did you
because
call?
it was
Then
really.
we're back to my original question. Did you call her fat? Is it a
I
yes or
did
no?
absolutely because she called me a raving
what is
drug
this?
addict. That's
What
what
is
she
this?
called me. All right,
They're making it like they came up and knocked on the door, and they're much more
No,
aggressive
and then-
than that.
I'm
Wait,
sure it was
hold on, wait.
aggressive, but how's your daughter talk that way?
Yeah.
No, because
I'm seriously like, parents.
No,
will you just
wait.
stop. Let's talk about this paint thing, which is the reason why you're keeping the security deposit.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the main
Yeah, go
reason,
ahead.
but I disagree that I thought abandoning the property was also
I know what you
breaking
mean
the
by
contract.
abandoning the property.
They never notified us they were leaving. They left 13 days early.
Okay, but did they or did they not tell you we're exercising the escape clause like you suggested?
No, they did not.
Okay,
And
you've
in-
never acted like they did not.
And in the lease-
Stop. You've never acted like they did not. Because if you're entitled under the escape clause to 60-day notice, I would expect your defense to returning the security deposit to always have been, they gave us no notice.
They did
But
not.
your defense has never been that. Not ever. Okay? Your defense has been they owe us money for the paint job because they didn't stay the whole time.
Yes,
all right?
it was part of it.
Right. No, it's not part of it. It's the only defense you lodge. Where in your statement do you say anything about not giving
On the
them
back
notice?
of the paint
And plus, you're the guy who suggested it to them.
You know what?
Forget it. You're not going to win on the notice, and you're also not going to win on the paint issue because you
got
have no
that.
proof of this cockamamie deal that you say he agreed to.
Right.
And why would anybody ever agree to that? To say, okay, you're painting your place, and if I do something I have a right to do, I get penalized. That's not a right to do something. That's not a right to do something. My verdict in this case is for the plaintiff's $1,300.
Well, the plaintiffs in this case have just collected.
I'm the one who tripped you.
Yeah, she's got the crutches, and you're stumbling out here. But after losing this case, what's going through your mind here?
I kind of think the judge might have made up her mind before she heard all the facts, and it did.
I doubt that.
It did happen. It did happen. We had the agreement. It was kind of friendly. It is what it is. Get everything in writing is all I could say. Everything.
Yeah, you get the escape clause and.
Well, I thought that was nice enough to put in. Most landlords wouldn't even put an escape clause in for somebody like
How
that.
did it get so heated? How did
They're
it get to
more
this
violent
point?
than you think.
They are?
Yes.
Yeah,
They
she's
came
a
off sweet in
psycho.
court.
They're sneaky.
She's a lunatic.
And you guys added to it too, right?
Oh,
A little bit.
yeah. I mean, I get a little crazy too, but someone's attacking my front door. I'm gonna get a little irate.
All right.
Thank you.
Right around this way. Watch your step on the way out, okay? Okay. All right, so what's your feeling on the outcome of this?
In the end, the truth prevails, and that's all there is to it.
All right, how did it get so crazy on your side?
It's a little bit of.
The daughter was extremely nasty
daughter,
and
the daughter.
disrespectful, and
you?
I think there's a little bit of aggression on both sides, but.
a little bit.
But
So you go hide in the car.
Yeah, I wouldn't hide in the. It's fine, man. I want to get away from it, away from the rain. I guess I wouldn't do it again, but
You like the way he acts when it's hitting the fan?
Yeah.
Okay. Harvey?
Okay, FYI, without an agreement in the lease, you cannot paint your apartment without your landlord's permission. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
This is the plaintiff, Barry Lawrence Lotto. He says the defendant is tax guy. Made a mistake on his 2009 tax return. He was charged interest and the defendant owes him big time. He has no problem paying the IRS what he rightfully owes, but doesn't believe he should be responsible for paying the $938.39 in interest charges, and is suing the defendant for just that. This is the defendant, Marvin Bader. He says the problem the plaintiff has with the IRS is not a liability of an accountant. The plaintiff has some nerve suing him for money he received from the IRS that wasn't rightfully his, and now the government wants it back, plus interest. The plaintiff can come up with every reason under the sun why he shouldn't have to pay, but he had use of that money, and now the government wants their interest. He's accused of taxing a client.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant screwed up his taxes and should pay the penalty. But the defendant says the plaintiff caused his own problem. It's the case of I'm taking a deduction from your bank account.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Barry Lawrence Lotto.
Yes.
You are suing Marvin Bader. You've asked us not to mention the company name, but you're suing his company. He prepared your taxes in 2009. You're suing him for $938.39 because you received a tax bill. Tell me what happened.
Yes, I was audited for a tax deduction that I was not entitled to.
You were audited, or they sent you a letter?
No, I was audited.
So you had to do a lot more than explain that.
I was audited. He gave a deduction for $20,000 that I was not entitled to. I was only entitled to it if I was 59 and a half years old. I have the evidence here.
How old are you?
I'm only 49, and I
Okay.
was 46 when he made the taxes out, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's...
So you get this, and you get this in the mail when?
I believe it was in January.
Okay. And it says exactly what you're saying. And then you call him?
Yes.
So they're charging you the tax on that $20,000, which is $3,223. And then they're not charging you penalty, but they're charging you interest on that amount.
Yes.
Of $721.33.
They're charging interest on that money, correct?
Okay.
That I was not entitled to.
Right. That you were supposed to have paid.
Correct.
If he had done his job
Yes,
correctly.
that's
All
correct,
right,
Your
so
Honor.
you call him and you say what?
I explained what happened. He said he would get back to me, that he was in Florida, never called me back or anything.
Ever? Never.
Never.
So you had to sue him? Did you call him a second time, or you don't have that kind of
I
patience?
spoke to his wife. She claimed she had the flu. She was in the hospital. She would send me an IDT 224 form. Never received anything from her. I got fed up and took them to court.
Okay. What's going on?
This is what happened. On his federal return, he got $34,000 and some dollars from the Metropolitan Transit Authority. That was put on his federal return, and he paid taxes on it. The federal return is perfect. No problem. He's never going to have a problem with it because the 3 years window is over. What happened is
You mean he didn't get caught?
Excuse me? No.
Yeah, you mean he didn't get caught because you took the deduction on the federal return, too?
Well, there was no deduction on the federal return.
Okay, so then why is it relevant that the 3-year period is over?
Well, I'm saying the IRS right now is auditing 2009 return. Usually there's a window.
I understand that, but what I'm asking you is this. Did you take a deduction on the federal return of the $20,008?
No.
You didn't? Okay. So that's available just in New York?
Yes.
Okay, but it's only available if?
If you're a civil service pensioner.
Okay, and is he a civil service pensioner?
Well, he does work for the Metropolitan Transit Authority, which is a civil service organization. They run the train.
You made an educated guess that was wrong.
No, it's marked on the, I'll show you this as evidence.
No, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. I'm looking at the letter from New York State, and they're saying...
They're denying the fact that I deducted his pension from New York State.
They're saying that you can only do that if you're 59 and a half.
No, he misstated.
No, I'm reading off the form. I am not listening to him. I'm reading off the form, and I'll read it again. Let me read it out loud. It says, information available indicates that you and your spouse were not 59 and a half during the tax year. Therefore, you are not entitled to the pension and annuity income exclusion. So you can't claim that deduction.
That's right.
Okay.
But
Is the New York State Taxing Authority correct?
There is also something on that shows if it's a pension from a civil service organization, it can be deducted. And
Okay, so did you fight this for him?
this is what happened. He didn't give me a chance. I needed his power of attorney that I could have then called his organization that gave him this pension, and I could have called Albany, and I would have liked the opportunity, which I do for all my clients.
They know that when they sent him this letter, they know that that pension came from where it came from. It's not a secret where it came from.
They make mistakes,
and they know. Oh, they
I'd
do.
like to advocate for him,
Right.
but he didn't give me a chance. He did speak to me. He's made so many misstatements that it's ridiculous.
Go ahead, tell me the misstatements he made.
At any age, a civil service pension is deductible on the state and city return. But the state is saying it's not a civil service pension.
Your Honor.
No, we're done. Let me tell you folks something. You know what? We're not done. We're taking a recess.
All rise.
So, how many people here have hired an accountant to do your taxes? Okay. How many people here have had their accountant screw up their taxes? Only one. What happened?
Well, all I know is I got audited by the IRS, and when I was asked to show proof of my write-offs, the accountant no longer existed.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
So now your landlord's after you, the IRS is after you. Oh God. Going inside the courtroom.
You say he made a mistake.
Yes.
You say New York State made a mistake.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think New York State said?
He made a mistake?
Nope. They made a mistake. They made a mistake. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Apparently, your pension income is managed by Prudential Life Insurance.
Yes.
So the first line says on the pension payment form, which is the
1099-R.
Okay, says Prudential Life Insurance, and then right underneath that says MTA. Apparently, they field these calls all the time. So here's what we're going to do, because you have a right not to be out, okay? Here's what we're going to do. Well, how long do you think you need to wrap it up?
I would call them tomorrow.
Okay.
Well,
so,
it takes 1 week after you mail it in for them to react.
Okay. So what I propose, and then I'll give you a chance to respond, whatever it is you're trying to interrupt me with. What I propose is that you sign the power of attorney. You give him, if you say it takes a week, let's give you 2 weeks to try to get it removed. Okay? And then if for some reason New York says, oh no, I disagree with the person Judge Milian spoke to and I think XYZ, then we have a different issue. But I've already heard the trial. You don't have to come back. You don't have to go anywhere else. I'm ready to rule. You need to give him a chance to fix it if he can. And they've told me, oh, this happens all the time. So I think he's going to be able to fix it. And then if that doesn't happen, the one person I know cannot be out is you. I get it, okay? But I also get that the New York State Division of Tax and Finance could be wrong. And apparently they admit that they're wrong. Now, what did you want to say?
But, Your Honor, they did clearly say that MTA bus, we are not considered government employees.
So
because
here's what
I've
you're
been down this
going
road
to
with
do.
them.
Your choices are you lose today, and I just rule for him because you won't cooperate, or you cooperate.
No, I'll cooperate.
Perfect.
But
then we're done. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do exactly what I just said 15 seconds ago. And if for some reason it doesn't work, then I just have to rule on what's in front of me.
Wonderful.
But I want paperwork from the state of New York that says, have them fax to you an answer, okay, that says this or that, either what he claims they told him or what I claim they told me. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor. He's claiming incorrect information.
I don't want to hear anymore. Oh my gosh, we're done. How much better could this ruling get for both of you? You're not going to eat it, and you're going to get a chance to show your good name. Adios, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
They still bicker afterwards.
Well, here comes the plaintiff, and the big question for you is, what are you so upset about?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think he made a mistake.
The judge says you're going to be fine either way.
I hope so.
Yeah, she's got the remedy, so you don't lose anything either way.
Well, she sure did her homework.
Yeah. Well, aren't you willing to give the guy a chance?
Absolutely.
Now? Yeah. Okay. Good. So,
I just hope he does right.
Okay. And if not, we'll see you later. All right. All right. Head right down this way.
Take care.
I've got nothing to lose. All right. Thanks for stopping in.
You're welcome.
Okay, come on over here. So you feel, how do you feel?
I feel vindicated.
Vindicated, right.
I always work hard for my clients, and I thought I was right. He didn't give me a chance to have me call up and argue his case.
How rare is it that New York State makes a mistake like this?
It's not that rare.
It's not that rare, right?
No. Yeah.
Why couldn't you convince the plaintiff of this?
Well, he didn't want to give me a chance. He was so excited. He was in a rush to sue me and to collect the $700 in interest they were charging him. He didn't give me a chance.
Well, he panicked a little. When you see those notes, you see those letters from the state tax people.
But I've been doing his return for over 15 years.
All right, so he's vindicated. Over to Harvey.
All right, guys.
Okay, Kurt, the update here, the defendant actually submitted paperwork to the IRS and the penalties were actually reversed. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Harold Wise. He says he brought his Trailblazer to the defendant to have the heater repaired. And when he got his beloved truck back, his signal lights and brake lights didn't work. He brought it back to the defendant, and this time both his emergency flashers went on when he signaled a right turn. The guy's obviously a hack. It cost him $474.49 to get his wiring redone, and he's suing the defendant for just that today. This is the defendant, Wilfredo Poma. He says he fixed the plaintiff's car and tested everything to make sure it was working, and when the plaintiff left, there were no issues. He came back complaining of problems with his electrical system, but he doesn't do that type of work. Now the guy's asking him to pay for his repair bill at another shop, even suing him for it. Well, things happen. How's that his fault? He's accused of causing a customer to short circuit.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff brought his Trailblazer in for a busted heater, and when he got it back, he had a problem with the signal and brake lights. But the defendant says he did the job. It's the case of trail and error.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Wise, you are suing Mr. Poma and his company. You've asked us not to mention the company name for $474.49 that you were forced to pay to repair some wires that you say were ripped or cut by him during a job he did. Tell me what happened.
Well, I didn't know Willie for a couple of years. He winterized my car. He put a new radiator in there. So 10/19, I need a heater cord. I took it to Willie. He looked at it. He told me what he got to do. He got to pull out the dashboard and do this. How much? $450. Fix it. He fixed it. He called me up. My car ready. Went back to pick it up. On my way home, I put my left single light on. Double flashes start flashing.
Okay.
So I go home, call him up, bring it back, take it back
The very
to him.
next day?
2 days later.
Okay.
I called him the same day, though. About 5 minutes later, I called him out of his shop.
Okay.
And he said, leave here, fix it. Came in and picked it up. Went home, same problem. Bring it back.
But didn't you test it at the spot so that you wouldn't know if you had
No,
the
he
same?
said he fixed it. I just, you know,
I know, but the second time, I understand
Yeah.
the first time, okay, we get lazy, but the second time, don't you go like this to see if you have the same problem?
Yeah, then I go home.
Did you have the problem when you went like this at the spot?
Yeah, it started blinking. When I got home, it stopped blinking. I couldn't.
Okay, so it worked at the place, and
Yeah.
then you have a problem again when you leave.
Yeah, I
Okay.
called him up. He said, bring it and leave. I brought it. I left it with him. Next day I went back. He said he couldn't fix it. It's not his expertise.
Why don't you? Okay, all right.
It's not his expertise. Have it fixed. I reimburse you.
He said to you, you have it fixed, and I'll reimburse you.
Yes.
Okay.
So I go on. I saw a gentleman. He said, I know a mechanic that does that. I went to this mechanic, told him the problem. He said, okay, leave the car. He fixed it.
Okay.
Gave me a bill, $474 and change.
Okay, but how do we know that it's his fault?
Everything was working when I took it to him.
That's how we know.
Yep, everything was working perfect.
Do we know through any other mechanism other than that?
That's it. Everything was perfect. I got the parts here. Everything was working.
Okay. Did the other people that you took it to tell you, oh, somebody here slashed these by accident or something?
No, he said when they took whoever took the dash out, they broke a wire, and the piece that you push down.
Oh, so somebody told you that. Whoever took the dash out broke a wire.
Yeah, and
okay, because I don't see that in writing in the what they do. So do you have that in writing somewhere? That they say it was the fault of whoever took the dash out? I only see an invoice from the second company saying, we charge you X for Y. And you have a what year car?
A 99
Right.
Blazer.
So it could be not his fault, or it could be his fault.
Yes.
I need you to be able to prove which of those it is. So do you have in writing from that company that it's the fault of whoever just took out the...
You say it was broken wire. When he took the dash back out again, he saw the wire broken.
Yeah, I know.
Then they broke this part right here.
Yeah, let me see what you got. What's your what do you have to say about this?
Okay, like I say, I know this customer for before because I did some work for him. He called me about the heated core, so I say, well, you stop by when you're ready. So because in that time the heated core was completely broken, smoke coming out inside the car, I take it that job. But before do anything in heated core jobs, I check the dashboard, make sure there's no warning light, blower motor working, everything working. I check what's okay, but I forgot or I don't remember if I checked the lights because he came in early in the morning, about 7 o'clock. Are you paying 8 o'clock? Here is
But
now,
you don't remember checking the lights?
No.
Okay, so he goes out and he says there's a light problem, he brings it back to you, and what do you see? Do you take the dashboard out again?
No. I check the lights. Also, I replaced for him 2 switch. I thought was because I not working in the area.
You don't work in
that side.
electric?
What is the stadium column? What is that switch? It's located in the stadium column.
Oh, this switch is not underneath the dashboard?
No.
It's in the steering column?
Yes.
So how did he cut it?
Yeah,
it's not the wires, 2 wires.
I see the 2 wires that are cut.
Can I show you something?
Yeah.
Come up.
Yeah, come up if it helps.
Right up here, sir.
This right here.
Yep.
The wire we're
These
talking
two.
about is in the dashboard, and this here, you push down, you change the thing. When I hit it down, it came out complete. So Willie tried to fix this here. You can't fix that. You got to buy the whole unit.
Okay, but did Willie break that first?
Yes, he broke this too.
How do we know? Okay, but if this is in the steering wheel, I'm sorry. What was it you were trying to fix? The heating coil?
The heating coil is located in the other side.
Okay, and when you take out did you have to take out the dashboard?
Not completely.
What part did you take out?
We have to take it out. The dashboard is going to give me some room to get into
just
the
some
heating
room.
coil.
But when you do that, are you moving stuff that's in the steering wheel?
No, we not disconnect nothing in the steering column.
You don't touch a steering column?
No,
So just stop a second. So your testimony is that this piece of the car isn't touched when you're putting in the heating coil?
No.
All right,
We
and
don't
your
disconnect, no
testimony
nothing.
is that the guys at the new place said, oh, that guy, when he took out the dashboard, somehow sliced these clean like that. Because it's a very clean slice.
And another thing too, my cigarette lighter wasn't working. I took it back to Willie. He fixed that.
Okay.
He said his mistake. He fixed that. So when I showed him,
Were you telling him, oh, I made a bunch of mistakes, that's my mistake, I'll pay for it? Right, we got a little discrepancy here on that. Go ahead and go back.
When he showed me the part was replaced, he said, I not touched that part at all.
Okay. Court's in recess, gentlemen.
All rise.
I got to study your car.
Okay, anybody here have a problem where you take your car in for one thing and then when you get it back, they fix that one thing, but you have a problem with something else?
We took our car in to basically get a tune-up, and it came back leaking oil.
And did they ever fix it for you? Or did they own up to it?
No.
I'm guessing it happened to you?
Of course. Yes, why not? Sure, I took my car in for brakes and somehow end up needing a transfer case.
Here's the deal. I never want to fly with you. Going inside the courtroom.
I do not normally do this, but I am getting a very technical explanation from the gentleman who fixed your car, and I want to give you an opportunity to respond to it. Okay, Mr. Oakdale Fox?
Yes.
Of Fox Auto Repair?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to me, you fixed Mr. Wise's car.
Yes.
And it is your professional opinion that, in fact, the pulling out of the dashboard did cut these wires, correct?
Yes, when they took out the dash, there's a harness, there's 2 harnesses that go from the passenger side to the driver's side. You have to take the brackets off of the air conditioning box to clear it. A lot of times you got to pull that harness and stretch it, and sometimes with mechanics stretch a little bit too far, and it pulls some of the wires and broke them. But it can happen to anybody, but it's just from overstretching the harnesses to clear the heated air conditioning box to get the heated core out.
Okay, so the fact that it is, according to the defendant, what he's saying is, oh, I didn't work on that part because that part's in the steering column. And you're saying it makes no difference because those wires all run and are connected, and that's what was pulled out.
Yeah, all of those wires go over to the harness that goes into the steering column for the combination box. Both flasher and the hazlight relay are on the passenger side that work from the combination box.
Okay, what is your response to that?
No, because it's plenty room, because the steering column is got things to, it's not like a straight, it's coming like that. All that connection is in the steering column.
Right.
So
but the connection goes somewhere, and what he's saying it goes to is to the passenger side.
It's got enough room to try, because if it's not, I can disconnect the wires.
Okay, how come it was working before and then it wasn't working after you worked there?
Well, to me, it's
I mean,
like...
listen, I'm someone, this is not my first case. I'm someone who's willing to look at this and say, hey, look, you got a 1999 car, things happen, it could be a coincidence. He really needs to prove to me that it had something to do with the repair for me to turn around and look at a repair company and say, you need to pay to get this right. But we have two things going on. We have a perfectly cogent explanation by Mr. Fox of how it is he thinks this happened, because it is all interconnected. And we have him testifying. I brought it to him to get the heater coil replaced because everything else was working just hunky-dory until then. So I got to tell you, I'm ready to rule. Thank you very much, Mr. Fox. Appreciate your time.
Okay, you finished with me?
But I'm finished with you, Mr. Fox, for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, enjoy.
All right, I'm ready to rule. Yeah, Mr. Fox was very adamant to say that it could happen to anybody. It's just a miscalculation of how hard to pull and blah, 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 blah. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of the $474.49. Good luck, folks.
All right, let's see what the defendant has to say. Come on out here. How'd that go for you?
Well, I believe he made the right decision, so I'm glad it's over. Let's see.
You're glad it's over. So do you stand by your work, or maybe you admit it possibly was your mistake? Could be.
I don't think so, but could be. We never know. I also, it's over 10 years old car. It could be happening anytime, switch going bad, so.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, right around the corner. Good luck on the next car. Better luck, anyway. Right in here, satisfied how this comes out now?
I won. I'm satisfied. He was wrong. I took my car there to get it fixed, and he broke it, and he didn't want to pay. So I'm very happy.
So take us to that moment when you go to turn and your flashes come on.
Yeah, I turned left, my double flashes start working. I put my double flash on, my single light start working.
It's like a Three Stooges movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Harvey?
Okay, it's a really good idea to actually test drive the car when you get it back to make sure that it's working okay. And by the way, in many states there are these agencies, they're called Bureau of Automotive Repair, usually licensed by the state where all of the auto repair shops are licensed, and they can sometimes mediate problems that you have with the repair shop.